So it's been a couple weeks since we've seen AtGames improve their Legends Pinball 4K product with different latency improvements for several pinball games and packs, but it's time to tell the truth. Okay, guys, we are back, and it wasn't too long ago that we just saw Wagner's Tech Talk. I'll have links to all this in the video description below. Showed us some latency improvements. He did two videos, one before and after, letting us know all his research and findings regarding the AtGames flipper lag delays and performance issues and things like that. In this video, we're going to focus on both the positive and the negative. And what I'm going to do first off is, even after the fix, is I want to kind of highlight the negative. As we kind of see here, what we saw before was the Zen Studio games had a frame delay of about 7 to 8 seconds on most of their pinball games. You'll notice on the new games that just came out, like the Universal Pinball Pack, Peanuts, Snoopy Pinball, etc., that frame delay got dropped down to about 4.5 seconds, sometimes 5, with the latency improvements. Overall, about a 30% increase in performance. However, a big concern for me and others is the fact that we've discovered that our display resolution for these Zen Studios games on this Legends Pinball 4K is only 1440p, and that's going to matter to some people. Now, is 1440p a horrible resolution? No, it is not. But still, that is definitely feeling, in my opinion, kind of like a bait and switch. We're expecting 4K resolution on these pinball games, and what we're seeing is 1440p. That does, in my opinion, feel like a bait and switch compared to all the other games, the Gottlieb games, the Magic Pixel games. All of those have a display resolution that is 2160, so you are looking at the 4K. You'll also notice that if you keep your eyes on that column right there, you'll notice that the frame delay when it comes to all the Magic Pixel games as well as the Gottlieb games is about 3 seconds, anywhere from 3, sometimes upwards of 4 to 5 frame delay. And now what's interesting is, now that they've taken the Zen games, which had double the frame delay of the Magic Pixel games, well, now that they have essentially matched what Magic Pixel was doing, because let's be honest, guys, the difference between 4 frame delay and 5 frame delay is negligible. You're probably not going to notice it or feel it when you're playing. And another issue that was interesting about Wagner's testing is you'll notice that, you know, when it comes to how he was testing the pinball games, as we kind of take a peek here, you'll notice that he's inserted a quarter, he's launched a game, and in order to get the 30 presses in as quickly as possible and move on to the next table, because, guys, this guy tested all the games, we're talking well over 100 games, he wasn't actually playing the games when he tested them. The game itself is started, it is launched, but the ball is just sitting there waiting to be plunged. Now, why is that important? Well, in my opinion, you're not putting as much emphasis on the processor, on the hardware of the system. The game is not actually running. At this point, the only thing that's happening is that there are some lights blinking on the table and the game is waiting for you to play. That's it. The ball is literally just sitting in the plunger rail. And what's interesting about that too is, you know, if the ball was actually moving, if the game was going, if there's modes initiated, if there's effects and table effects like Zen Studios does on their things where you have characters moving around the screen, that is going to impact the performance, in my opinion. So I don't think we truly have the most accurate results when it comes to this. But does it really matter? And another just short-term issue that we'll have to deal with for the time being is, as these updates roll out, and they are rolling out fairly quickly, is the fact that people have to remember to power cycle their machine for the best possible performance. So far, we've seen the lag improvements as of the recording of this video apply to the Snoopy Pinball Pack, the Williams Star Trek The Next Generation pinball game. We've also seen all the other Star Trek games, the 3-game pack with Deep Space Nine, Discovery, and the Kelvin timeline, as well as Attack from Mars, all receive the updates. And you do have to power cycle your machine before you move on and play a game that hasn't been updated. So for some owners, until all the games are updated, especially those who own lots of the Zen pinball games, running natively on the platform, you are going to have to keep turning your machine on and off if you're bouncing between games and not just playing one game or one set of games at a time. It's going to be a little bit difficult to remember which games were updated again, but eventually that short-term problem will work itself out as all the updates roll out. Okay, now let's turn the page and focus on some of the positives here. So for instance, doing the updates is very, very simple, which I really like. Not any kind of massive firmware updates or things like that, except for if you own the specific machine with the built-in games like Addams Family. You just simply navigate to the App Store X and download the update for that particular game. What I did notice here, like with Snoopy, is if you do the update and immediately start playing the game, I did have to power cycle. There were issues with the game still having frame rates with the ball. The ball was still skipping around. And keep in mind, some of this is in the AtGames release notes. I power cycled the machine and then turned it on and started playing it, and it was a much, much better experience overall. I mean, the flipper delay, in my opinion, although it's 30% better, it feels 100% better, which is kind of funny. 60% of the time it works 100% of the time. We all remember Anchorman. But it's such a big improvement and noticeable improvement that, you know, considering I've played so many of the Magic Pixel games, it just feels just like those set of games. When it comes to Attack from Mars, the flipper delay, in my opinion, was so bad. The best I could score was 1.7 billion points. That was it on this thing. And even though after the updates, these Zen Studios games are 1440p, do they look horrible? No, they still look really good. They definitely look better than the 720p versions that Arcade 1-Up had on their Arcade 1-Up pinball machines running natively on their hardware. They definitely look way better than that, twice as better. They're still bright and colorful and vibrant. You still kind of wish, though, that they were 4K, just like the Magic Pixel and Gottlieb games, because, again, it kind of feels like a bait-and-switch advertisement, but the tables still look beautiful, and the flipper delay was so much better. And, of course, the surround sound feedback kit is now dialed in with all these games, and I have that surround sound feedback kit, and it sounds incredible now when you're playing the Zen Studio games. I mean, hell, on my first try playing Attack from Mars, with the flipper improvements, I doubled my score from 1.7 to 3.6 billion points, and it's only going to get better from here. And that was just playing one game. That's how much better of an experience it is. People are more sensitive than others, and we're actually able to enjoy these games now. I ran through and I played all the Star Trek games, Attack from Mars, Snoopy, Addams Family, Star Trek The Next Generation, and you know, the only ones I didn't get to test yet were the new Universal pack that just got released, so the one with Jaws, E.T., Back to the Future. Haven't bought that pack yet, but that pack, of course, has the fixes included. What's really nice is any of the new packs that they release that are Zen packs will automatically have the fixes put in. Any of the previous packs we may own, we have to wait for those updates to come out, but they're coming out fast and furious. You know, it's kind of sad that a lot of us had to wait 9 months for these fixes to come in. I mean, I've had my pinball machine since, what, January? Yeah, I've had my pinball machine since, like, January, February of this year, and, you know, 7 to 9 months. I mean, that's a long time for us to sit here and have a bunch of pinball games that were basically, depending on your sensitivity level to flipper delay, were unplayable to people like me. But the experience now is exactly what I wanted day one out of the box when it came to the Zen games running on this hardware. Again, we can harp on the 1440p all we want, but as you can see here, playing the Kelvin Timeline and all the other games, it still looks pretty damn good on this pinball machine, even though it's advertised as a 4K pinball machine. And the experience and the sound, especially, you got to get that surround sound feedback kit, is incredible now playing these games. And, you know, I actually found myself doing something that I haven't done in so long since owning that pinball machine, and that was once again smiling again, having a good time playing these pinball games. And don't mind the renovations going on behind me. My house is a disaster because we're renovating so many rooms at the same time, but I actually found myself smiling and enjoying the experience. Big shout out to AtGames and Zen Studios for putting these latency improvements in. Look forward to continued improvements down the road. We still have a lot of games, though, that need some graphical improvements and some audio tweaks and things like that, but hopefully that'll all get sorted out in time. If you enjoyed this video, give me a thumbs up on the way out, and thank you for subscribing.